Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Special Sevens. Thank you Indra and Netra for joining us today. We will dive right into the topic. We ended our last episode with the question, how do astronauts sleep in space? Any theories?
They have beds, but they float away, so then I think there's like a rope that is on their wrist and then attaches to the bed, so if they float away when they're sleeping, they're still there.
You are correct, almost correct Indra. Let's...
They might have seat belts.
Seat belts or sleep belts? Okay, let's explore all of this together. What do astronauts really do? In your screen you're seeing the International Space Station. That's where astronauts go and live to do their research. The space station is almost like the size of a soccer field, and it is powered by all the solar panels you see there. And on the other picture you see an astronaut waving to us. He's wearing this special suit. It's called as EMU, Extra Vehicular Mobility Unit. Astronauts are basically living in a giant high-tech laboratory orbiting Earth at incredible speed. What is it really like to live in a space station? It is not just floating and looking cool. Okay, it's a lot of that. But how do astronauts do normal stuff like eat, sleep, or even go to the bathroom? Let's find out. First of all, everything floats. This is called as microgravity. It looks super fun, right? But it makes simple things tricky. Here you can see an astronaut looking at a water bubble that is floating. Let's start with eating. Anybody hungry? Space food comes dried up in pouches. You just have to add water, maybe hot water, squish it up and eat it like mac and cheese.
If you take off the helmet, do you still have oxygen?
Now they are inside the space station. So everything is controlled inside the space station. Oxygen is there, they can breathe and everything. But if they have to go outside the space station, let's say to fix something or do some research, then they have to put the suit on. When they are eating, they have to watch out for crumbs. Because if you break a bread and if there are many crumbs floating around, that might be bad, right? It could go and spoil some other machines inside the space station. So that's why most of the astronauts, they prefer tortillas actually. And salt and pepper, it actually comes in liquid. If it is powder, then it's just going to float around, right? Let's say if you are drinking a soup or a juice, because there is no gravity, it's going to try and come up and it's going to fill your nose. So you don't actually enjoy the taste of the food. You are most likely always going to have a stuffed nose. But here you can see them, they are still having fun. They are having a dinner table, everybody is eating together. And you see the other astronaut eating ice cream. That's Sunita Williams. Now let's come to our question, how do they sleep? Astronauts actually, they zip into sleeping bags, like how we go on camping, right? And we sleep in a sleeping bag. Except that it is strapped to the wall. And it doesn't matter whether you sleep standing, you won't feel a thing. Even if you lie down, it doesn't feel like you're lying down, right? Because, yeah. So you can sleep in any position that you want. And the station is very noisy. There are many machines that are humming. So you need to wear your earplugs. And you also need to wear your eye masks because the space station is traveling so fast around the Earth. Every day there are 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets. So if you're sleeping for 8 hours, then almost 5 times there has been a sunrise and a sunset. So you have to wear your eye masks, your earplugs, get into the sleeping bag which is strapped to the wall and sleep in any position that you like. How do they use the toilet? Forget flushing. These toilets uses air suction. Whoosh! There are separate parts for number 1 and number 2. And you have to aim carefully. And it's super cool and gross, but astronauts' pee gets recycled by amazing filters into pure drinking water. So your pee today might be your coffee tomorrow. And here you can see in the picture, in the first picture, that's your number 2, and the second picture, that's where you have to pee. So you have to really have a good aim and not mess it up. But they have all the tissues around them in case if there is a mess happening, then you have to clean up. Life in space is not so bad. They have fun time as well. They have a lot of fun time. Here you can see the astronaut. They are at the cupola, which is a big window. You can go and look at the Earth from that height, and you can see all the sunrises and sunsets. And here you can also see the other astronaut is working out. You have to keep your muscles moving because there is no gravity. You will be aging faster. And you can see the other astronaut playing chess. So everything is moving fast, right? If you have to imagine, think about how you feel when you're in an elevator which is coming down fast, or when you're in a roller coaster. You feel like you're floating, right, for a second. That's microgravity. That's what they face all the time. Okay, let's dive into a game now. I will tell a fact and then you have to tell me whether it is true or false. Okay? Astronauts often return to Earth slightly taller.
False.
True.
What?
Because there is no gravity, your spine seems to stretch up a little bit. And then when you come back, you are sometimes a bit taller. Astronauts can't have any dream while sleeping. False. In fact, some astronauts, they report that they have more dreams when they sleep in the space. Astronauts can't eat spicy food in space. False. They actually prefer spicy food because already the food is not tasting so well. So if there is more spice, then it's good for them. So they prefer spicy food. Astronauts have special training in Earth to learn how to poop and pee.
True?
Okay, it's actually true. Before you go into space, at Earth, you have to go through this training. So that improves your aim. Astronauts wear a special watch to keep track of space-time.
True. False.
False. They use a regular watch. They try to match it with a time zone called as UTC. It's a coordinated time zone. So they have shifts just like in Earth, and they want to sleep and eat at the same time. So they maintain their body better. Astronauts can do laundry. True or false?
True.
It's actually true. They can't do laundry. So they wear a dress or a pant or a shirt until it gets dirty, and then they just pack it and dump it, or they have to bring it back to Earth to do the laundry. And they can't take a bath either. So they just have to use a hot wet towel and take a sponge bath. Because you can't have water running around and splashing like that. Every bit of water is going to float around everywhere. That brings us to the end of our topic today. I want to end the session with I wonder why question. I wonder why. 66 million years ago, a meteor crashed into Earth and ended the dinosaurs. But how did some animals escape extinction? All the birds, they came from dinosaurs, right? So how come all the birds did not die? So we will explore the answer in the next episode. But thank you everyone for joining us on this episode today. It was fun learning about the astronauts and learning about microgravity and to understand the life of an astronaut in the space. We will explore a new topic in the next episode. Until then, stay safe and keep your aim good. Bye everybody. Bye.